Issue that seems to be haunting the Trump administration in the wake of Saturday's airstrikes in Iran. The question is, has Iran's nuclear program been, as Donald Trump asserted Saturday night and has repeated every day since, obliterated? As they keep using that word over and over again. At a press conference this morning, Fox News weekend host turned America's Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, tore into the news media for daring to report on a preliminary assessment from the Defense Intelligence Agency that claims that the bombings may have set Iran's nuclear program back by only a few months at best. We'll spare you a replatforming of all of his aggressive attacks on the media for a second, because real news was made. We did learn some new stuff at this press conference. We just didn't learn it from Pete Hegseth. The chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Dan Kane, refused to say that the strikes, quote, obliterated Iran's nuclear facilities, as Donald Trump keeps saying. Watch.
On Sunday, you said final battle damage will take some time. And you also said, I think BDA is still pending, and it would be way too early for me to comment on what may or may not still be there. That was just over 3 days ago. So what has changed? Would you use the term obliterated as well?
Sure. Like I said, we don't do BDA. I'll refer that to the intelligence community.
And that right there is actually the whole issue that's being debated. Were the strikes successful in terms of hitting targets? Yes. But did the strikes deliver the result that the administration says they did and says they wanted? As ranking member of the House Intelligence Committee, Congressman Jim Himes puts it, quote, the only question that matters is whether the Iranian regime has the stuff necessary to build a bomb. And if so, how fast? Obliterating the sites means nothing if the Iranians moved enough 60% uranium centrifuges and other weaponization tools to build a bomb at some possibly unknown location. The regime may be vile, but they are not stupid. And this stuff can be relatively easily relocated. So let me show you more from this press conference. Here's what happened when Fox News' Pentagon reporter, Hegseth's former colleague, Jennifer Griffin, asked the incredibly important and respectful and relevant question whether the Iranians moved uranium out of the Fordo site.
Do you have certainty that all the highly enriched uranium was inside the Fordo mountain, or some of it, because there were satellite photos that showed more than a dozen trucks there 2 days in advance? Are you certain none of that highly enriched uranium was moved?
Of course, we're watching every single aspect, but Jennifer, you've been about the worst, the one who misrepresents the most intentionally. What the president says. I'm familiar.
Report about the ventilation shafts on Saturday night. And in fact, I was the first to describe the B-2 bombers, the refueling, the entire mission with great accuracy. So I take issue with that.
Jennifer, you're the worst. If you missed the first part of that statement, that was America's Secretary of Defense saying to Fox's highly respected, highly credible, highly experienced Pentagon correspondent, quote, Jennifer, you're the worst. And you saw her there take issue with the assessment and go on to defend her reporting, none of which has been disproven. It's just a taste of what happened today at the Pentagon from the Secretary of Defense, whose salary is paid for by all of our taxpayer dollars. Now, a different line of questioning from a different reporter. Hegseth did something different. He said he was, quote, not aware of any intelligence suggesting, quote, things were not where they were supposed to be, end quote. Whatever that means. Buried in what was a mountain of details about the mission from Kane and an onslaught of attacks on the press like the one we just played for you by Pete Hegseth is an alarming question. Why does the Trump administration respond to questions from reporters or lawmakers trying to ascertain the success of the mission in striking Iran's nuclear program by attacking everybody asking those questions, forcing the press and the American people and lawmakers with oversight responsibilities to go other places for key facts? New York Times is today reporting that the head of the International Atomic Energy Agency said this, quote, there was no escaping significant physical damage. but that it would be, quote, too much to assert that Iran's nuclear program had been, quote, wiped out after the Israeli and American bombing campaign. The source, Mr. Grossi, noted that not all of Iran's nuclear sites have been struck and said Iranian officials had told him that they would take protective measures for the uranium they had already enriched. Still, he added, the nuclear program has definitely suffered, quote, enormous damage. Breaking in just the last few minutes, senators are emerging from a classified briefing given to them by Trump administration officials on this big question, on this big issue of how effective, what the consequence of the airstrikes are, whether they succeeded in taking out Iran's nuclear program or, quote, obliterating it, as Trump keeps claiming. Question everyone's trying to sift through and find a true answer to. After the briefing, there's a dispute now in the readout between Republicans and Democrats. Here's Democratic Senator Chris Murphy's takeaway from the briefing.
To me, it still appears that we have only set back the Iranian nuclear program by a handful of months. There's no doubt there was damage done to the program, but the allegations that we have obliterated their program just don't seem to stand up to reason.
Doing our own job at ascertaining the facts about U.S. airstrikes on Iran amid a cloud of confusion from the Trump administration that includes chaos and spin and deflection is where we start today with some of our favorite reporters and friends. NBC's Courtney Kube will join us in a couple of moments. Also joining us, New York Times national security reporter Julian Barnes is here, and retired U.S. Army Lieutenant General Mark Hertling is here. Mark, you sent us some really smart thoughts and reflections about both the substance and the conduct of this press conference. Let's start there.
Yeah, first I'd like to say, Nicole, Jennifer Griffin is not only a great reporter, but I got to know her in a couple of days. We invited her to go along with us on a staff ride of the Normandy battlefield back when I was commander of U.S. Army Europe. And she was not only a professional reporter, but she was just a good human being. And the question she asked of Secretary Hegseth is a question I would hope that the Pentagon would be asking themselves. Okay, great, we hit the target. Terrific event, wonderful synchronization of weapon systems against the target that the Air Force and the Navies were supposed to hit. But the secondary question of all military personnel is, what were the effects? What happened when you hit the target? Was there anybody there? Was there equipment there? Was it removed? And that was the question that Jennifer asked. So that was number one, something that stood out for me. The second thing was General Kane's presentation, I thought, was excellent. He did the thing that most military folks want to do. He pumped up the airmen, the sailors, everyone who was involved in the mission, talked about their professionalism, gave a great detailed account of what they did so the American public can know how well trained and how competent our military forces are in doing what they're asked to do. But he refused to answer the question about BDA. Because, as he said, I don't do BDA. That belongs to the Defense Intelligence Agency and the other intelligence community. Ask them about it. All I'm asked to do is strike a target that I've been told to strike. It was on the other side of the podium where Secretary Hegseth seemed to have quite a bit of hubris, quite a bit of condescension, quite a bit of insulting of different people, and a great deal of anger on points that really he should be interested in as the Secretary of Defense. It's great from the military standpoint that you hit the target and you conducted this operation in a very professional way. But part of the strategic implications is, did you hit what you aimed at? So those are my initial thoughts, and I have many more if you want to talk about them.